Yo, what is up, guys? So we are going to be going over the best deck, in my personal opinion, of the next format. And this is just going to be in the TCG. However, I think Strike Blades are unarguably the best deck, but that's not out yet. So going into the new ban list, you know, the question that I got asked quite frequently recently while I was live streaming Yu-Gi-Oh! Is what's the best deck of the next format? And I think most players will also agree with me. Goukis are the best deck. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys basically how the deck runs, as well as like some of the ins and outs of the deck. And I'll give you guys a brief little deck profile. This one over here is by Me here. But for the most part, they're pretty much the same builds. Minus like, let's say like 5 cards you can play as kind of tech cards. But basically, all you need to do in this deck, because this guy like absolutely destroyed me here, but it'll absolutely destroy anyone like turn 1. So basically, what you need to do is summon any 2 warriors, and that's pretty easy in any deck. And then if you can get a Gouki out, it can actually extend your combos a lot more. But for the most part, it's pretty easy to summon 2 warriors and just a Gouki. I mean, there's a lot of just special summon this card. You can Goblin Bird. There's just so many options here. But anyways, all you need to do is make a Soul and use 1 Gouki as material, and then you're gonna go ahead and activate a Soul's effect. Go ahead and add that monster to your hand. One important card is Headbat, but you're not adding it off of a Soul. A Soul adds any Gouki monster. You're not going to get the effect, so it doesn't matter. And let me briefly explain this as I go along, because basically it's like a turn 1 auto win. Like it's very difficult to beat this for the most part. They can even play through hand traps, and I'll get into that in a second. So Suplex over here, or Suprex in the TCG is what it's called. He has the effect, and in fact all the Goukis have the effect where they can add any Gouki card from their deck to their hand when the card's sent from the field to the graveyard. Now, they all have the effect where you can only use that effect once per turn. But they all also have like a little like bonus little effect. For example, Headbat can increase something by 800. Bear Hug in the TCG. I know it says Hug Bear, but the actual name is Bear Hug in the TCG. He has the effect where you get to actually half something's original attack. But for the most part, again, we're just using the Goukis here for their effect of being able to add another card. Now, in this case, with the Soul, when you add the Bear Hugger, it doesn't really matter what Gouki you're adding. But when you go for any of the other Gouki monsters, you won't be able to activate their effects, so you're just going to use it to be discarded for the effect of Headbat. So you guys are going to see that right here. So he's going to go ahead and special summon the Octo Stretch, which is important because it's just the level 1. That's really all it comes down to. It has another effect, but we're not really using it for that. We're basically just using them all as like link material fodder. So we're going to go ahead and activate this effect of Headbat. So if this card's in your hand, you can send a Gouki monster from your hand to the graveyard, which is the card that you added for free with a Soul. Keep in mind, you only really need like 2 cards to completely go off in this deck, but ideally you will have like 3. You'll have that additional like card, but again, it's pretty simple to do that. So anyways, he's going to go ahead and summon the Headbat. Then he's going to go into Cerberus over here. So you can discard a card and then target a special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone destroy. So you can even get through potentially like maybe like 1 to 2 cards that your opponent has. And again, you're going to be activating the Gouki's effect where you're able to just add any Gouki card. And Rematch lets you get double extra Goukis, so it's like a +1 already. And again, with most of the Gouki monsters, we're just using them as like an extra monster just to have. So he's going to go ahead and activate Rematch, special summon the double Goukis, and then he's going to go ahead and go into Firewall Dragon, and also go into Mermaid over here. Now with Mermaid, one important thing that you can do, in this case he actually drew Divine Sword, but if you send Divine Sword to the graveyard, it's another free card that you can just add to your hand, because when you banish 2 warrior type monsters, which you're going to have a lot of in the graveyard, and you should add it to your hand. So this is like usually the card that you'll be discarding. So let's let you summon any Nightmare monster. So basically it's Gouki Nightmare is like the deck for the most part. The Goukis are just kind of there as link material to of course go for your combos. So again, he's actually adding the card for free, and then you guys can see over here he's discarding the card to special summon a Nightmare. Now he's summoning Ibli over here, or the Nightmare Corruptor Ibli is the full name in the TCG. Pretty expensive card. It's like 40. Last time I checked, it was like $45. So not a cheap card, but you only really need 1 of them anyways, and that's gonna make it pretty dirty. We're obviously activating Firewall Dragon, and then also Goblin has the effect to actually draw an additional card, and then we're gonna go ahead and summon the Risk Scorpio is the TCG name. Some of these names, man. And then we're going to go ahead and activate Ibli and just get back the Cerberus that we used as material previously. And you can see we basically have a full board here. We're not even really using Soul Charge yet, but Soul Charge is more icing on the cake. It's really not necessary to really go for it. So we're using Binary Sorceress as a stepping stone. Obviously, Firewall Dragon, completely balanced card, man. And Ibly has the effect where you can actually special summon it to your opponent's field. If this card is sent in its owner's control, is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card to your opponent's field in defense position. Now, this card has the effect where you can't special summon monsters except for link monsters. And on top of that, all non-co-link monsters lose 1,000 attack and defense, and this is going to be like really dirty, as you guys are going to see. So it's also going to get ahead and summon another Gouki, but it's not going to get the effect because, well, we've already gone through the effect. Again, a lot of this is just like extra cards. So one important thing over here is we actually use the Curious, the Lightsworn Dominion here. We're activating its effect, and when we actually sent a card to the graveyard, that card being Imperial Order. Now, Imperial Order is a pretty good card, but we need to add it to our hand, which is something that the Nightmare Griffin will allow us to do. So this card has the effect where you can discard a card, then target a spawn trap card in your graveyard, and you can set it to your field. So theoretically, like, I know this turn he happens to have Soul Charge in his hand, but if he didn't have it, he could have a follow-up play potentially in the next turn, because you could just send anything that you want to the graveyard and then just instantly set it to your back row. But in this case, yeah, he's got like the Soul Charge, so there's really no need to do that. They will sometimes go for Soul Charge, but it's more of a rebuttal play. But this is just a really, really nasty turn one, and it's pretty much just like a GG no re. Now, previously, well, he got out the Trigate Wizard here, but realistically, if he had his board previously, it was like you can't you can't target co-linked monsters, and on top of that, he has Griffin, which already has the effect where special summon monsters cannot activate their effects unless they're linked, but it's not going to be possible because I'm not going to be able to special summon anything except for linked monsters. And then on top of that, he's got Mermaid, which is going to reduce all non-co-linked monsters by 1,000 attack and defense. And then he also has the Trigate Wizard. So it was more like I couldn't target things, they all lost 1,000 attack, and I can't special summon monsters and activate their effects unless they're linked. But good luck trying to do that like with only like summoning like one monster, because you guys can see what he's going to go ahead and do. So he's going to go ahead and Soul Charge. This wasn't really necessary, but you can still make boards where you completely lock your opponent out of going for link monsters in the first place. I've seen that time and time again with this deck. In this case, it is a Soul Charge combo, but it's very common for this deck to just like take up all the link zones. It's also common for them to like summon a bunch of stuff that stop you from doing stuff. And in this instance here, he has Mermaid, and he's got 2 of them. So everything loses 2,000 attack on my board, and I can't activate their effects unless they're co-linked, but I can only go for linked monsters. And then on top of that, Goblin makes it so neither player can target co-linked monsters. If you guys are thinking, oh, you would just Kaiju, right? Well, you can't do that because you can only special summon link monsters. Pretty insane effect. So there's very little else to this where Geki Darkhold cannot be used because he's also got Imperial Order. So at this point, it's pretty much like a GG. I mean, there's nothing that I can do, okay? I can't activate anything, and it's just game over straight up. So I just summoned Gale, and I'm just like, okay, GG, man. So yeah, like I can't even half anything because remember, I can't activate monsters. Well, special summon monsters can't activate their effects. I could try to activate Gale's effect, but Trigate Wizard would just, of course, negate that, and then I have no follow-up play. Obviously he's not going to be negating a trap because I can't activate a trap, unless of course it was like the Infinite Transcendence, or whatever that card got its name changed to the TCG. But this is a really dirty, really like OP turn 1. And if you guys want the deck profile, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you guys. You guys can actually modify this, but for the most part, most of the decks are going to be very similar in the sense where it's just a bunch of warriors. I've seen Thrasher builds too. I don't think Thrasher's a bad choice also. There's so many just other cards that you guys can run. It doesn't really matter. I mean, heck, we're playing like Butter Spy here. But it's just any 2 warriors, which is quite easy for any deck to just go ahead and make. But this is my personal opinion, but I think in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, we could pretty much say that this is the best deck. I mean, obviously, when you title something like the best deck, someone's going to be like, no, this is the best deck. But it's probably one of the most consistent decks to pull off like a full link board. But then also, having the ability to follow up with an Imperial Order is really dirty. And what I find funny, though, right, is cards like Ash Blossom have that effect where it's like, where is it? You can only use the effect of Ash Blossom once per turn. The thing is that most of them are main decking Designator, or I'm sorry, Called by the Grave in the TCG. They're main decking this, so if they go ahead and activate, if you activate the Ash Blossom and, you know, they're going first or second, whatever the case is, you activate this, your opponent can't respond with another Ash Blossom because that's it. One card that can also get stopped, that will technically stop this play, things like Effect Failure and stuff like that. But a lot of people are playing Infinite, what is it, Transcendence? Oh, Infinite Impermanence. This is the card. I'm just gonna call it Infinite Transience because that's what I just remember. But this card is like kind of important because it's really hard for them to really do anything with that. But oh wait, there's Red Reboot. So this card can actually stop that. So like, it's not easy. I mean, yeah, you could say I have this hand trap, but they're just gonna respond with their hand trap, right? So Red Reboot is a card where when your opponent activates a trap, you get to negate the activation and then set that card face down. Then they can set another trap directly from their deck instantly. And you might be thinking, oh, they're just gonna set like a Solemn. But the problem with this is that you're not going to be able to really utilize this because most of these effects, with the exception of like most boards, Trigate Wizard, they're all like continuous effects anyway, so they're not going to like activate, right? So you can't really like activate the Solemns or anything because, well, it's not going to be available. But they get to set any other trap card, which is actually pretty nice. But yeah, you do have to, it says you can activate this card from your hand by paying half of your life points, which is also good going second in case there's any Solemns or something, because it is a counter trap card. So the deck has a lot of outs. I mean, like I said before, I mean, if you're gonna say I can Ash Blossom and the deck is lost, well, they're gonna say I can Call by the Grave. It's a consistent deck. It's only really requiring you to have like 2 warriors plus any Gouki, or just 2 warriors in general can make like really explosive plays. We didn't even see an instant fusion play here, but obviously you can see how the deck goes. But anyways, for those of you guys that do want to, I'm going to go over the deck profile. But because it's kind of a subjective video, like, you know, you could argue some other deck is better. I don't know. Dinosaurs are really popular right now, and they're actually a pretty decent deck. But I just think that nothing compares, like, what's like the boss turn 1 in Dinosaurs? I feel like there really isn't an insane turn 1 play compared to what this deck can do. This deck has one of the most consistent, and it has probably the best because it locks your opponent out of even going into the extra deck in the first place. And then it's like, oh, you can only go for co-link monsters, and you can't even activate effects, and it's like, you can't even play, man. You can't even Dark Hole out of that. But anyways, let's go ahead and go over the deck profile. Those of you guys that do want to play it. Now, this card, I know it has this little thing which usually people think that it's the OCG, but this card is actually out. Again, it is called Bear Hug, not Hug Bear, if you guys are searching up this card. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. I mean, this card didn't even get its effect anyways. But anyways, there's one Hug Bear or Bear Hug. Then we have one Rescorpio. Then we're playing 3 copies of Suprex. And then we have 2 copies of Butter Spray, 2 copies of Twist Cobra. Then 2 copies of Marauder Captain, 3 copies of Junk Forward, 1 Spell Striker, 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Ghost Ogre, 3 copies of Head Bat, which is actually a pretty important card. This is always going to be the card that you search out for after you go for your sold play. But you're not searching this card out with the sold though, because otherwise you won't get the effect. It's literally any other Goukis that you like don't need the effects because you already either used them or whatever the case may be. And then we have the Nightmare Corruptor Iblis, so this locks your opponent out of going stuff from that anything anyways. But the thing is you cannot specially even summon Link monsters because he's going to take up alt zones more than likely, and you can't even make anything, so basically no special summoning. And then we have 2 copies of Octo Stretch, which is of course your target for the Assault. Then we have 2 copies of Instant Fusion, 1 Rhoda, 1 Soul Charged, 2 copies of Rematch. Now, unfortunately with Rematch you can only activate 1 of them per, well actually if you could activate multiples that would probably be even more insane. And then we have 1 Reborn. We're running 2 copies of Designator. I honestly like running 3 copies of this card because I mean it's just so dang important, because if you get hamstrung, this deck is definitely a turn 1 oriented deck. However, I've seen people play Twin Twisters in the deck, but back row in this game is just like too slow, honestly. But he's playing Red Reboot, which I think is an excellent card because it responds to a lot of other things, making it respond to this card. And it's just overall it makes it so going second isn't as bad. Gouki hands down wants to go first, like no doubt, because they don't want to let you even get any cards out. And then, of course, we got the Moon Mirror Shield and the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. I've seen other builds try out other cards. I've seen the Bamboo Engine. I mean, that's opening up potential clogs. Even though he drew Phoenix Blade, which I would say is kind of bad. You don't actually really want to draw any of these. It's just for, of course, the ability to summon the Octo Stretch. So it's a level 1. And then we have 2 copies of Red Reboot, and then we have 1 Solemn and 1 Imperial Order. there's two options. You can go for the Imperial Order play, or you can go for the Solemn play. Like, it basically searches out whatever, and it's such a hard board to already deal with once they they make everything. But following up with like a Solemn or a Imperial Order, it's difficult, man. It's basically like a GG. But anyways, as far as the extra deck, he's playing one target. It's just basically, guys, it's just a warrior for instant fusion. It doesn't really matter what you play. Then we got Boreal Firewall, and then we have Griffin, Curious, Trigate Wizard, Unicorn, Phoenix, Double Assault, Cerberus, Binary Sorceress as a stepping stone. It's actually a pretty important card. And then we have Goblin, and then Double Mermaid, because, well, Double Mermaid means everything loses 2,000 attacks. So good luck trying to... Basically, you have to normal summon something, and also have no effect, because it's more likely going to get or negated by Trigate Wizard. Again, they don't always make this card. A lot of times what it is it's going to be like something like, it's going to be like this Griffin, and then like even Goblin. And if they happen to lock you out, then of course they locked you out. Well, good luck with that. Sometimes they'll have this, but like generally this is like the three cards that they can relatively easily make. I know it was a Soul Charge replay, but they can still do it. I've seen it tons of times without Soul Charge, but basically it's like you lose and this is on the opponent's board. So basically you have to link summon instantly, and then also like everything loses 1,000. It's non-co-linked, and then they can't activate their effects. And more likely it's going to be very difficult to not activate effects unless of course they're co-linked, but you're not going to be able to get to that stage in the game because this card is not going to really allow you to special summon, because you can only go for link monsters. So you'd have, unless of course you're using it as material, but yeah, it depends on the deck you're playing. And also you can't target them, and then they'll have like one of these. That's like their like pretty standard turn one play. But anyways, that's the best deck in my personal opinion. You guys can let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys disagree and you think that there is a better deck right now in the TCG, again, we're using the new ban list, even though we've got like a couple more days before it's considered, of course, the next format. But I have not seen very much Magicians, even though it's in the OCG there's a few Magicians decks that are still topping. However, keep in mind Astrograph Sorcerer is a pretty good card, and they're definitely playing that over there. But I think that deck, it might be done. I don't know. But again, I think that this is easily the best deck until probably Strike Blade comes out. And in fact, that deck is so like a number one spot. I don't think anyone is going to argue with that. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid. Hopefully you learned what is there. If you guys know how to counter this deck, I would like to know. I might make a video on how to like counter all like the top decks, but we'll have to wait and see what is going to be like the guaranteed top spot. But this is again trying to answer you guys' question. When you guys say, what do you think is the best deck? This is my personal opinion on it, because it's so consistent. And even though you can say you can hand trap in turn one, guys, they can rebuttal to those hand traps, you know. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh content.